Yes, sir. I knew it. I can sing another song if you want, not just that one. Some of you might want to know, what's the Home Center? Okay, I have this up here. Home Center Training Manual. What's the Home Center? What does that have to do with me? Just so you're aware, the Air Force Education and Training Command, AETC, that's the command that administers training across the Air Force, including pilot training, various other kinds of training, including the training that you're going through. Okay? The specific division of it that is headquartered down at Maxwell Air Force Base is called the Home Center, that administers ROTC and OTS and a few other things. So that's why the term Home Center. Gene Home was the person's name, and the center was named after them. I don't remember what they did, but they got the center named after them. So that's why you'll see that name, the Home Center. So if you see Home Center, that's like same as seeing Air Force ROTC headquarters or above. Okay, so you understand that. I don't want to just get up here and throw terms around. Okay, so the Home Center, in charge of Air Force ROTC, has put out this little manual. Okay, this is a key part of the curriculum. It's basically a guide to a synopsis guide to leadership. Okay, and it fits, as it so happens, hand in glove with our detachment commander's vision of creating servant leaders. As you read through this manual, POC, I've assigned you all to read it. Those of you who are not POC in here yet, you will still benefit from it if you can get a hold of it. I just recommend reading a copy, but I'm not going to hold you accountable for it yet. Everybody here is a POC, though. I expect them to know everything in this manual. Okay, and basically, it is a servant leader type manual. It basically explains to you how to conduct leadership. All right, and it talks about it from the general perspective. Okay, what we're going to talk about can be applied in a specific setting where you've got a specific task that you're leading somebody to do, all the way to the general perspective of, you're my subordinate, welcome to the unit, this is what I expect of you. So, having said that, I'll scroll down here. The book is basically broken up into 5 chapters. All right, expectations, skills, feedback, consequences, and growth. And in case you haven't figured it out, in the military, we like acronyms. And when I first started out RTC, I thought, people are acronym nutbirds. I will never do this. And here I am 20 years later, and I'm an acronym nutbird. So I made this acronym up, SFIG. The C is silent because it wouldn't sound right otherwise. So SFIG, remember that. This book is SFIG. That's the chapters, all right? And since I only have 5 minutes per leadership lab, I'm only going to cover the E part, which is expectations today. Okay, so that's also fits in line with what you're going to be learning today in your leadership lab. Okay, in your briefings with your flight commanders. They're going to be setting expectations today for the semester. They're going to be outlining for you what they expect. Okay, so that's an overview of this manual, this book. And I'll cover those quickly. Again, expectations, which is basically telling the subordinate, this is what I expect of you. Okay, I can't hold you accountable for wearing a certain color shirt or running a certain number of miles or doing this or doing that if I don't tell you up front, this is what I expect you to do. Okay, so that's why it's vital. Expectations. Then skills. Skills is the second leadership step where I say, okay, Cadet Staley, I want you to bungee jump off the top of Boone Pickens Stadium and try not to hit the side. Okay, well, that's not going to do him much good unless I also provide him, what, a course on bungee jumping, probably we need that, and some bungee cords, okay, and understanding how to use them. So he's going to need skills. So that's where, as leaders, you're expected to either portray the skills yourself or make sure that your subordinates get the skills and learn the skills they need, okay? Feedback is the next step. Feedback is where I can't expect a subordinate to know they're doing something wrong or not the way that I expected, remember the expectations, unless I tell them. So feedback is telling them. The feedback goes both ways, as you'll see when we get into the feedback part on later leadership labs. Feedback goes both ways. If Cadet Whitten is my subordinate in the office and I have an expectation that she will submit the quarterly reports, on time, all right, but she doesn't, but I don't tell her, and then at the end of the time period, I write her evaluation, you know, Cadet Whitten did not submit her reports on time. And she never knew that she didn't submit on time. Perhaps she didn't get the message. Perhaps she didn't know what that requirement was. She didn't know the expectation. That's where feedback becomes vital. Or maybe she submitted them and they were wrong. They were spelled wrong. So I have to provide that feedback. Likewise from her, I need feedback from the subordinate to tell me, hey, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're wanting. You want some great thing, but I don't know what you're wanting. So, or they may tell you that, hey, there's obstacles in me doing what you want me to do. So feedback both ways. Consequences, being able to set, this is what's going to happen if you don't make an effort to meet the expectations, okay? Or if the expectations aren't met for one reason or another. They may not even be your fault, but if you don't get these palletized tools over to the theater on time, these airplanes are not going to get fixed and the mission won't get done. Okay, so consequences. Lay out what are the consequences. Growth. Growth will be essentially the ongoing process of all these things where the person continues to get better and better at providing and meeting the expectations. When their skills are honed, they get better at feedback, they understand the consequences, and they're actually not only putting out effort, but performing. There's a difference there, okay? All right, so let's cover the expectations part, the E in the SFIG acronym. So who remembers what SFIG stands for? No, you guys are too smart. Other guys here. Right here.
Expectations, skills, feedback, consequences.
Very good. Okay, very good. See, my acronyms are already taking root. You guys will soon be acronym people just like me. You have been assimilated. All right. Expectations. The manual further breaks down expectations into another acronym I made up called ISIP. All right. So if I say, hey, have you expressed the expectations to Cadet Feeney? And he would say, yes, Major Goddard. I introduced myself. I said positive atmosphere. I stated the obligations of Cadet Feeney. I explained the rationale behind the task I wanted her to do and provided an overview of what was going to happen. I would say, wow, that's awesome. You really set out the expectations. A little more detail involved in that, obviously, okay? Key thing is that you want to introduce yourself. And again, this is going to be happening today, all right? You're going to be getting introduction by your flight commander. Introduce yourself in your position, etc., how you fit into the overall process. Setting the positive atmosphere doesn't mean doing it for them or being lax. It just means setting a positive atmosphere. It means don't make this a negative thing. Stating the obligations, again, specifically state what the subordinate is required to do, whether it be specific task or overall. Explaining the rationale. It's very important that you don't just say, because I said so. You can do that. There's a time to do that. We'll talk about that more later. But in general, to get a subordinate to do what you want them to do, you need to explain, why are we doing this? Okay? They do it better if they know why. And providing an overview of what's going to happen. That's where you essentially lay out exactly what you think is going to happen with the particular task that you're providing, the expectations for, and what you think is going to happen. And it may not be exactly what does happen, but you have to give them an overview of what you think is going to happen. Okay? No ISFIG, no ISIP. If you use it POC, you're going to have to know this, all right? Because you are the cadet leaders in the cadet corps. So I expect you to use ISFIG, and I expect you to use ISIP today when you're giving out your expectations. Okay, whether on the general or specific level. Any questions? I'm over time. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, fellow cadets. I'm Cadet Brian Schmidt, and today I'm going to give you a briefing about military conduct. Just quick things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about customs and courtesies, professionalism, flag respect display, and the basic range instructions. Alright, customs and courtesies. The difference between customs, tradition, enforces an unwritten law, and courtesies, guidance in written form. Alright, some examples of customs. Holding the flag in a triangle. Learning the flag to half-mast with a soldier's key. Position of honor is always to the right. And the basic salute. Alright, the salute. For you GMC, you're always going to salute those guys. 1, 2, and third. You don't salute each other. For instance, Cadet Sanders and I, we could salute each other. We're both captains, but we don't necessarily have to. respect each other if we can, but it's not a big deal if we don't. Alright, salute car owners. More than likely, you probably won't see a general car on USU campus, but if you do, you will salute if you see somebody inside of it. Field training, chances are you'll probably see cars with 2 stars, 3 stars on them. Alright, saluting in a group. While you're stationary, the person in charge of the group, the highest ranking cadet, anything like that will salute himself. Say Cadet Hirsch was walking towards you, the group of 3. One of you 3 just take charge and salute him. And the times when you salute people. From midnight to 11:59, it's going to be good morning. So 3 in the morning, 7 in the morning, 10 in the morning. Then in the afternoon, it's going to be from noon till 4:59, it's going to be good afternoon. And for the rest of the day, it's going to be good evening. Make sure you always know what time it is because your commanding officer might ask you, you make sure you have the right time, anything like that. And you always say, ladies and gentlemen, if there's a group. Alright, we're going to saluting indoors. You never salute indoors except for one time. So I know that one time. So, okay. You're okay.
I'm reporting.
Exactly. That's the only time you do it. Also, when music's playing, anything like that. But if you feel like outside, if you're not sure what the other cadets' ranking is, going down plus that. Being professional. A few turns, this is really important this semester. You're getting ready to go to field training. You have to be professional at all times. That means greeting all your higher JC cadets. No using foul language, no using guys in a band, anything like that. The debt is changing, and you need to be professional at all times, because if you don't, you'll be counseled by any number of cadets, and 3 times, more than likely you're going to go to copyright, and they might look for someone to kick you out. Alright, saluting the flag. Always salute the flag. Always put your hand over your heart. Yes, you President Bush. Saluting those, be attention. At football games, you know, you put your hand over your heart. If you're in uniform or some kind of retired military member, you can salute. Nobody's going to say anything bad about you. But if you're in uniform, you always salute the flag. And salute. Alright, reveille retreat. Remember, reveille retreat. Be there half an hour before it's your time. So if you don't, you lose points, I think, like every minute. Person, once you have flag details, person who's running the music always needs to know when to press that button, when the clock goes, they need to know what track it's on. And the people down below, especially the COIC, needs to know when to have his detail or her detail at attention and at great rest. Alright, as you can tell, for dining out, you can tell when we had that 2-star here, the flags always to the American flag is to his right, and his general flag is to the left. It's always going to be like that. So let's say we're doing like the entry American, whenever it's done, the Oklahoma flag or the Air Force flag is always up there, and the American flag is always over there. That's how it's always been. Big notice, don't flag at the ground. So we do. I really want to know what happened. Better I might go crazy out here. So. Don't use the flag as a cover for the ceiling. Don't use the flag as drapery. Okay, everyone uses it as a cape. Not too long ago. Alright, GMC rank. You're all, pretty much except for about 6 of us, are GMC. It means you're getting ready to go to field training, but you still don't want to go to field training. You don't salute each other. You want 3 or 100s, you don't salute those people. I mean, you can, but you might look at you really funny. Alright, there's your basic 100 rank. More than likely, do any 100s have jobs? 0 jobs? Alright, so a couple 100s, you might have a job, more likely you will not ever have a job. 200, same thing, diagonal. And I don't think any of you have a job this semester because you're getting ready to go field training. Alright, post-field training, POC, Professional Officer Cadet. That means they have completed field training and now they're just waiting to graduate. Only cadet colonels keep their rank. That's just how it's always been. I guess it's just custom. Here's your basic POC rank. It means it's horizontal. You can go from 4 bars down to 1 bar, 3 bars, a mini bar, and like that. 4 bars. There's your basic enlisted rank. Know the enlisted rank, because war knowledge and it's just always good to know. Because when you go out to duty, you might, if you just see someone's rank, if you get the rank wrong, they might lose some respect for you. In fact, I know a lot of people who probably, if you call them a tech sergeant when they were really like a master sergeant or staff sergeant, they'd probably be pretty upset with you if you don't know the ranks. It's also a good thing to know, Captain taught me this, know the enlisted oath. That'll be a lot, you'll earn a lot of respect from if you can do that. Master became a master sergeant. Seeing chiefs or anything like that, you know those guys or gals have seen a lot, so I'm sure listen to them. I guess you all want to be lieutenants, you all want that gold mark. No, I think this looks cool. You just want to be, so, there's your lieutenant colonel, major, colonel, and your stars. If anybody can be a general here, you've done a lot of stuff. It's very low. I think, as a field training, they said only one person in our entire group, or entire camp might be a general. Maybe me, I don't know. Today, one more thing. Enhanced drill. That is being held twice a week now. On Tuesdays, it's at 1600 till 1700. There's only about 10 of you there. I know you have class, can't do anything about that. So that's why we offer it the second time. Thursdays at 2:30. And the one on Thursdays, it's for you cadets. So if you want to work on your STP, if you have questions about reporting in, we're on work on drill, watching the flight, anything like that. I'll be in the lounge at that time. Just come talk to me or any other POC. That's all you have to really do. Any questions?
It's a courtesy for saluting on high school. What is the courtesy for saluting on high school?
High school?
Yes.
I think it's just a reading.
Yeah. You don't want to.
That'd be. I mean, there was a kid our freshman year. He seemed on high school. He got really weird looks. So. I think he just read our reading. Yeah. And I think you should only be in high school when you're APUs too. So.
You're supposed to wear a helmet if you're in uniform in high school.
Yes. Any other questions?
I'm in charge of the chaplain office. Basically, we're ROTC advisors. It's all the previous cadet commanders and vice commanders, so we've done just about everything there is to do ROTC. Primary function, we're supposed to meet with everyone initially, counseling. Some of you have already done it. Some of you haven't yet, but we'll get there. So be sure and email your advisor, let them know a good time that you can come in and talk to them. And we'd love to meet with you and talk about your ROTC goals, maybe some life goals, and whatever else comes up for us. Other than that, we're here for you. Like I said, we've kind of done some things in ROTC, field training, we can talk about anything there is. ROTC, school-wide, you name it, whatever you want to talk about, that's what we're here for. Also, we do assist our fellow POC with any other jobs they may have for us. So we just kind of support function. Other than that, our office is the first one as we walk in up the stairs on the left. There's usually going to be someone in there just about any time of any day. So if they come by with any questions, comments, we know who to talk to if you have stuff going on. So appreciate your time, and that's it for me.
Good afternoon, fellow cadets. I am Cadet Sanders, and today I will be briefing you on health and wellness. Alright, today we're going to go over what is health and wellness, eating habits, life choices, benefits of leading a healthy lifestyle, and briefly talk about the Air Force Fit to Fight policy. Alright, what is health and wellness? Well, as you can see from the definitions, health is the condition of being sound in body, mind, or spirit, and wellness goes along with health, and saying that it's the quality or state of being in good health, especially as an actively sought goal. So, in general, health and wellness is a choice. I have a short video. Part of the healthy lifestyle is deciding what kind of foods you're going to put into your body. Make sure you choose whole natural foods. Avoid, the canned Chef Boyardee stuff. Try and eat foods that you know do not have, you know, chemically enhanced ingredients or anything that's not found in nature, I guess you could say. No McDonald's. Avoid the fast food chains. I know fast food chains, it's the convenience factor that gets a lot of college students. I know we have like, what, 4 McDonald's or whatever in Stillwater. Just avoid McDonald's if at all possible. It's not the healthiest choice. If you have to go there, I guess they have like a fit menu or whatever. Order off of that, okay? Make sure you drink water. Water is very important, especially during the winter time as well as during the summer. You might think since it's cold outside, you don't need to hydrate as much, but you actually need to intake a lot of water. All right, basic nutrition concepts. On the back of pretty much everything you buy, there's a nutrition label. Even on like a water bottle, there's a nutrition label. Pay attention, especially to the serving size. I know, say for example, like a can of Coke or something, serving size will say like serving size 1 can. But sometimes you'll buy like a bottle of juice and it'll say serving size 2 servings. Make sure you pay attention to that because that'll affect how many calories you intake, how much fat you're intaking. Make sure you pay attention to serving size. Also, calorie counts. Calorie counts is kind of iffy. There's good calories and there's bad calories. As it says, a food with 1,000 calories and only 100 from fat is far better than a food with 200 calories and 100 from fat. So pay attention to the calorie counts. One thing, I mentioned fat on here, but there's one thing that people tend to overlook, and that's the sugar content. Make sure you pay attention to the sugars. Going back to the can of Coke example, there's like 48 grams of sugar in 1 can of Coke. If you're a person who drinks a lot of pop and it's just like straight, it's not diet, please like refrain from doing the straight pop or whatever and just go to like the diet brands and you'll notice a huge difference just by doing so. Also, when it comes to calories, the daily value size is based on a 2,000 calorie diet, and that's based on an average person. Somebody who works out maybe 3-4 times a week, just doing, you know, bare minimum working out. A person that's like a football player, NCAA athlete, weighs 250 pounds, needs more than 2,000 calories in their body each day to function. All right, basic food groups. As you guys have probably learned from, you know, like preschool, like the little food pyramid or whatever, you need meats, proteins, vegetables, fruits, and you need nuts, which are a healthy fat source in your diet. You need a good balance of everything. I mean, I know most of you might have a very picky palate when it comes to what you like and the taste of stuff, but I mean, we're not 5 years old anymore. You can, you know, choke down that broccoli and it's not going to kill you. All right, on top of eating healthy, you need to make sure you have enough vitamins in your diet as well. You're trying to strive for the Air Force standards to be physically fit and able to adapt to any condition. So multivitamins are a great way to keep your body in check. You can get these at Walmart, just like the 1-a-day vitamins, kind of have everything. Just take one of those in the morning, you're good to go. Vitamin D also, it's included usually in a multivitamin, but you can also get like the vitamin D3 pills or whatever and take those on top of it, or just natural sunlight. Whey protein is a huge factor both for males and females in working with muscle tone and gaining and keeping muscle. You can buy whey protein powder. I'm sure most of you guys know what I'm talking about, in like the big canisters, whatever. You can even get that at Walmart or like a GNC type of store. All right, on top of like what you're putting into your body food-wise, take time for your mental health as well as your physical health. There's certain things you can do depending on what your interests are in. You can do yoga, you can do a spin class, even taking like a 15-minute nap is enough to re-energize yourself. Skip the energy drink, take the 15-minute nap, and that's all you need. All right, benefits of a healthy lifestyle is what you do, what you eat, determines how you look and perform. So as you can see the picture, which person you think was probably leading the healthier lifestyle?
Left.
On the left or right?
Left.
Left, yeah, that's what I thought too. All right, if you have any other questions, there's some resources. As always, with any questions, you can kind of hit up the internet, people mention it, whatever. If you would like a copy of any of these links, just hit me up afterwards and I can get them In conclusion, that's all I have. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Major G talked about it earlier. Anybody else want to go? Shoot.
Expectations, skills, feedback, consequences.
That's exactly what this program that we're about to talk about is all about. We're going to give you some expectations, you're going to develop skills, you're going to get feedback from this program. There might be some consequences along the way, and it'll help you grow as a cadet.
Okay, let's start things off. I am Cadet Bradley Daniel,
I'm Cadet Bradley Jantz.
and together we make up the Expeditionary Training Squadron. I'm the Training Squadron Commander, and he is my deputy, but he has a board. You want to tell me other title?
Basically, a standardization evaluation officer.
Okay, today we're going to talk to you about the Standardized Training Program, STP. Because we've all heard about it. A lot of work's gone into over it, so it's very important you pay attention. And it is a voluntary program, training program, but it's highly, highly, highly recommended. That makes sense. Okay, today we're going to talk about the purpose, Standardized Training Program, ST module, and STP evaluation reports. Okay, purpose. Let's show you how to read this up, but y'all can look at it. This is our mission and our vision. We designed this program, and we came up with a mission and vision statement. Again, raise your hands here. Who's read the memo that I sent out to your flight commander and sent out to y'all? 1, 2, 3, 4. Memo. All right, well, your flight commander should send it out to you, so it's breakdown communication, but you have all the tools you need to know. I sent out a final outline that displays, that has purpose, the vision, and all basic questions that you have. Refer to that, and I'll be able to answer a lot of them. Okay, moving on. All right, phases and basic training. Each of the training phases, there's training objectives, 6 of them, and each of them are broken up into phases. Ideally, you should be able to knock out each training objective in 2 weeks, with a phase being 1 week each. You're definitely able to knock them out as fast as you can. Or if, let's say, next week is bad for you, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go and do that training objective, do that phase. You can wait a couple weeks, then go back to it. But they have to be done in order. All right, training objectives is what I talked about. Each semester is divided up into 13 weeks, with, like I said, each training objective being 2 weeks each with 2 phases in there. This is a typical 100s. You all, pay attention. This is y'all's 100 spring training program, okay? That's your list of those classes. I treat them like classes of the training objectives. You got uniform wear, 102, reporting in, 102, lock it up, 102, watching, 102, tongue pull, 102, more knowledge, 102. Again, like I said, you have to knock them out in order, but each training objective will help you prepare to be able to move on to your 200 year, and where that's your final semester of the training program where you can get ready for FTP. This whole objective of this training program is to prepare you for the FTP semester so we don't waste any time learning how to march or learning how to do uniform. It's straight FTM stuff. Okay. The STP module. Any of y'all looked at that?
Everyone should have got an email document. So.
Raise your hand if you haven't looked at it. Be honest. Okay. Why not? That's the question. This thing is legit, okay? It has everything you need to know. It's been described as, Cadet Press Rapper would call it, the ROTC Bible, okay? It has, I'll confidently say, a 95% solution in there. Print it out, have it on you. If you're doing the STP, doing the training program, you have to have it printed out and on you when you report in. We're working on, right now I'm saying we're working on, because it's really expensive, but we're gonna try to get 50 of them printed out and binded for you all. So,
until then, just get like a half-inch binder or something with a whole bunch of them, put it in there. You guys will have it right on you. Or you can, bare minimum, if you don't want to buy a binder, just staple it together and have it on you, pocket, something.
and POC, you all should have this printed out or have it on you or be able to look at, because there's some stuff where you probably forgot about the Air Force mission statement or the vision. You can be able to look that quickly and help you next time. So, it's never outdated. Moving into the evaluation reports.
This is what the basic evaluation report. This is for the spring. Some of you have already done it. Basically, the first phase and second phase of the uniform wear, the AVU inspection. We're gonna niche that, and we're doing the blues, any kind of blues you want to show up in, because you guys haven't finished your reviews yet. So, and then you can see, just move on, reporting in, and then there's a couple, I mean, there's 6, you saw the 6 objectives. But basically, they follow the same outline. The evaluator is just going to put a tick on the discrepancies column, and then they'll total up those ticks, and you'll either get an outstanding, high stat, marginal, unstat,
And back to this, we gave your flight commanders a digital copy of this, and they're giving it to you, so you know what to expect. So you have those standards, and you have those standards where you have to hold yourself to. And what do standards build? Anyone know? What is it?
Morale, sir.
Alright, good. Okay.
This is also, yeah, like, going back to Major G's brief earlier, this will be the expectations. You guys are going to have a copy of this, so you'll see what's expected of you, so you don't walk in there and not know what to do and have no excuse. Alright, this is a list of evaluators. Cadet Dan and myself are on there. Our bosses are on there. And then, basically, your first primary person you can go to is your flight commander. But you can only go to your flight commander a maximum of 3 times for the phases. So that way you get a broad spectrum of like graders. That way, say one grader is really tough, you get hitched on a lot, or one grader is really soft. You can kind of get a well-rounded look at that. You guys can write those down for.
These are made available to you. Like I said again, I said all this information off your flight commanders. They should be discussed.
Basically, we have this many of them here because just so there's at least one person evaluated there at the detachment at all times. And for most of these, we forgot to mention this, but for most of these, unless you have to be in uniform, you do not have to be in uniform to come in and knock these out. So we don't want you running from your dorm room or from the class to your dorm room to go change, all the way to detachment and back to your dorm room to change to go to your next class. Just show up in regular clothes, look nice, don't come in like gym shorts and hoodie, whatever. So just look presentable, and you can knock as much of these out.
And like I said, we put together a memo that was sent out that y'all should be getting that has all this speculation on there. It says that you don't have to wear a uniform. The only time you have to wear a uniform are obviously the uniform wear, 102 or 201, whatever semester you're in, and days, LLAB days, of course you're going to be in uniform, and then 3 class days.
All right, in summary, can anyone tell me what our general purpose is for this program?
Training leaders.
Training
All right.
days.
We also hit on the standardized training program, the STP module, which you guys should all have a copy of and print out by next LLAB or by tonight or tomorrow, whenever. And then we hit on the evaluation points.
And real quick to add on to that, this started this week, so y'all can knock them out when y'all see fit. If you're doing flight details, we ran into a problem with this. During that from 1630 till 1700, no STP is supposed to be going on if you're involved in a flight detail. It should be just dedicated to getting
Jeff Parsons.
that done.
And this gets sent out to all the cadets that you're briefing, so
Yes.
they can reference that.
Any other questions?
I know you got questions.
This isn't supposed to be something that's scary or threatening at all. It's supposed to aid you and assist you into getting, once you get to the FTP semester, you can solely focus on FTP and making yourself a better cadet when you go to field training.
Hey, Rob.
So you're saying if we don't get the reporting and stuff done this week, we can do it again next week? Or-
Yeah, you can do it. It's a self-paced program, but to be able to move on till if you're 100 spring, to move on to that 200 fall curriculum, you have to complete every single one of those phases, and you don't have to get a SAT or above on any of them. You'll have a final evaluation score, and that'll stick with you. But you have to participate in the program. You can't skip and leapfrog. Yes.
And is there a new one every single week, or?
Yeah, that's what we outlined it to, where there should be a new one every week. You can go ahead and knock out, say you want to knock out phase 1 and phase 2, which a lot of cadets did this week because it's uniform wear. And the only difference between uniform phase 1 and phase 2 was there's questions associated with phase 2. So you can knock out both of those if you want. Some of them are going to be a little bit harder to knock out both at once. That's why we set it up to where you can kind of self-pace. That way you don't have all this on you at once. You can go ahead and knock as many of them at once. Any questions?
And we are doing a monthly for the 100s, a monthly award for whoever who's doing the best in the STP program, and then at the end of the semester, getting semester work for 200 exam marks. Any questions? Who's our agreement? Oh, yes, okay, we got a couple.
So we just go reference our guide and get all the information.
Guide has every single thing in there,
Oh.
but with the marching and stuff, where do you think you have to go to get that information?
Answer.
Exactly.
There's some brief stuff in marching.
I said there's no retakes, correct?
But there are bonus questions. Good. One more.
It's a good one.
Okay. Y'all remember last week, I talked to you really briefly about Pershing rifles and Arnold Air Society. Is everybody here for that? Rest of them not? Okay, pay more attention. We're going to go into more detail about Arnold Air Society. Last week, I said that we used to have an Arnold Air Squadron at Det 670, and we don't anymore. Now we're ready to say that we're going to be fully operational this semester again. We just haven't been operational for about the last year or so for some various reasons, but the members have been meeting and we're starting it back up, so we're going to open it up to be inviting new cadets to join. So this is your official Arnold Air briefing, because a lot of newer cadets don't really know anything about Arnold Air these days. All right, overview, what's going to happen. It's a great picture right there. We're going to talk about what Arnold Air is, what we do, what you will gain from being a part of it, and how you start. This is great. Got some familiar faces here. That's a great guy right there. She's moved on. Okay. What Arnold Air Society is. By definition, Arnold Air Society is primarily a professional honorary service organization advocating the support of aerospace power. That's a lot of big, nicely phrased words just to say that we focus in community service, and we do so in a professional and honorary method to basically lift the Air Force up. So we go out and we do as much community service as we can, and we advocate the Air Force while we do it. And you can see from professional and honorary, we take a lot of pride in what we do, and really the main purpose is community service. You've been hearing the term servant leader being thrown around a lot this semester. That's something that Colonel Winslow was really adamant about, that any good leader needs to be a servant first. You can't be a leader unless you know how to be a follower. Great leaders throughout history are servant leaders first, and that's what we're trying to build everybody up to be in this program, so we can go out and be servant leaders. So by stepping out in the community, Arnold Air Society is saying, hey, we're a part of Air Force ROTC. We're joining together because we want to do even more, and this is the future of military leadership, coming out to our communities and doing as much as we can. We do a great deal of work in Stillwater, and not just Stillwater. This is a national organization. So nearly every single attachment across the country, and there's hundreds of them, have an Arnold Air Society squadron, and so we're doing this all over the nation. What we do specifically, like I said, community service. This is a list of just the typical types of community service that we will do from semester to semester. We do these pretty much every semester. Into the Streets is a fall thing, and the big event is a spring thing. And also in between these things, it's just whatever our people can come up with to go do community service. If you've ever noticed, if you see that sign right there about the highway, that's heading out to Stillwater going west. If you ever noticed that, we have a 2-mile strip of highway that we go out and clean up on about a monthly basis. You can read some of those other things. The last academic year that we were functioning, we achieved nearly 1,000 hours of community service for 2 semesters with less than 20 people as part of the squad. So you just figure out how much we're really doing. That's a great thing to be a part of. I talked a lot about community service, but the other huge part of Arnold Air is training. So we're going to talk about what you will gain from being a part of it. Basically, to join Arnold Air, there's a little bit of a process to get in, a training process, which you can learn about later. So you get in by going through a training process, and once you're a member, you are administering the training process to new people. So it's kind of like they've been talking about their STP plan. It's really in-depth training. If you want to go deeper, it's voluntary. Jump in here and plug in, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff. That's what we're doing too. It's just another avenue for you to learn all this more stuff. The kind of stuff that you're going to learn in the training process, Air Force knowledge, drill, obviously. Personally, I can say that when I pledged Arnold Air when I was a freshman, in that one semester, I learned everything I needed to know to be a GMC. That's kind of playing fast and loose with a lot of different things, but basically, warrior knowledge, how to march, how to report in, I was done. From then on, for the next year of being a GMC, we would do warrior knowledge, and I wouldn't have to study it, I just knew it. It's just a huge benefit. You get everything down. And confidence, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate the confidence that I've gotten from that. whatever your first training program is that you go through, whether it's FTP or STP or field training, whatever, you're going to get a lot of confidence out of that. But that's earned by going through very shaky at first. So I went through Arnold Air Society as a freshman, along with a lot of my friends, a lot of my peers, and you come out of that and you have your first training process under your belt. I went into my FTP semester very confident. I went into field training very confident, and I did well in both of those programs. And I have always attributed that success to Arnold Air Society and the training that I've got from it. Friendships. I don't care who you go through a training process with, you will be close to those people. I promise you. If you go to field training, you'll make about 20 friends really quickly. I talked about the tools to succeed in ROTC. One of the real advantages about the training of Arnold Air specifically is it's really personal. You're going to have 1 to 2 people looking at you personally, and they're going to be talking to you and training you. It's not going to be you're in a group of people at a dance drill and there's one dude that's watching like 15 people. It's really personal, it's really in-depth, and it's really detailed. I wrote down there, one of the objectives of the society nationwide is to aid in the development of effective Air Force officers. So that's how the training is pointed. How you start. We're going to have an information meeting this coming Tuesday, right after enhanced drill in the detachment. There's going to be like pizza. This is your time to come and just see what Arnold Air is all about. Come and ask questions. The members of Arnold Air will be there, and it's going to be really informal. You can just go up to somebody, get some free pizza, and just ask them a bunch of questions. If you are not sure if you want to be part of Arnold Air, you're trying to figure somewhere out, come to this meeting. There's no commitment involved, you can come to the meeting. If you know that you want to do this and you're ready to jump on board, come to the meeting. That's where you're going to sign up. If you still have no idea what Arnold Air is, please come to the meeting. You can grab any one of us and ask us personal questions, and we'll tell you how much we love Arnold Air Society. Summary, that's just what we talked about. That is a great man right there. He's also moved on. Just to close, I told you, come and ask us any questions, and we'll tell you how much we love it. I've always loved, at least when it was functioning, Arnold Air. It was my favorite part of ROTC. It was just a tighter-knit group of friends, and they were my friends because I spent a lot of time with them. I went through a pledge process with them. I did community service with them. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love the training environment, going through it, having that under your belt, and then you get to train other cadets. And it's definitely been my most cherished part of ROTC so far. I'm kind of on my way out of ROTC, and I can look back and say in full confidence that I'm proud of how I performed here in this program. And I've always credited that to the training I got in Arnold Air Society. Okay, that is all I have. We have maybe just a minute for questions. Anybody? Get wrapped.
This is a national organization.
This is a nationwide organization, which means that we are one squadron, and we're part of an area. There's 10 or 11 areas throughout the nation. So every squadron, every detachment within the 4 states makes up one area, and it's a nationwide deal. There's a commander here at ROTC. There's an Arnold Air. We're the Thunderbird Squadron. There's a commander here, and there's a national commander over everybody. There's area conclaves we do in the fall. There's national conclaves where we all get together. Voluntary, if you want to go, you can go. Have these giant meetings. It's great for networking. Meet a ton of people. It's a great deal. Yes?
Is there any way we can cost them to participate?
Yeah, you're going to get a lot more specific answers on that if you come to the information meeting, but things can always be worked out. It'll be more difficult, but ROTC is more difficult in general for crosstowns. That's just how it is. But no, it's not restricted to anybody. That's another point. POC don't generally do it, but that's just how it is. It's not because there's a rule against it. Anybody can do Arnold Air Society. Anybody can pledge Arnold Air Society. Any other questions at all? Okay, thank you very much. At this time, you are all dismissed to go back to the detachment.